Hogwarts Legacy was a runaway success, featuring the highest sales numbers of any licensed video game ever released and setting the standard for how licensed games should be handled in the future. But with such a massive success behind them, what is Warner Brothers planning to do for a follow-up? With the sequel to Hogwarts Legacy being a major focus at Warner Brothers, when should we expect news for this game to drop? Will we have to wait another 4 years for the next Hogwarts Legacy game? Well, recently there has been quite a bit of news and rumors surrounding the next game, and today we're going to talk about all of that in this video. So check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's get started. So I've been playing a new save on Hogwarts Legacy again, and the other day I started the Percival Rackham's trial, and I kept getting absolutely wrecked by the Pensieve Guardian at the end of the quest. I had 0 Wiggenweld potions left. It was a pretty painful experience, but that's when I Acio'd my secret weapon, WeMod. WeMod is a free app for PC players that allows you to customize your gameplay. It gave me exactly what I needed to turn the fight around and completely change the game for me. With just one click, I can turn on instant spell cooldowns to unleash combos without having to wait, unlimited health so I don't have to constantly use Wiggenweld potions, unlimited ancient magic energy so you can continue to pack a huge punch, and you can even teleport across the map to make exploring way faster. The best part, it just works. WeMod automatically detected Hogwarts Legacy in my library, and the in-game overlay let me adjust settings without ever having to leave the action. The interactive map is a huge bonus as well. It highlights quests, collectibles, and enemy locations, making it way easier to 100% the game. Personally, my favorite feature has to be the instant spell cooldowns. It lets me keep attacking enemies nonstop, and honestly, it makes the fight super fun and fluid. If you want to check out the most of Hogwarts Legacy, download WeMod for free with my link, wemod.gg/WesNemos, or click the link in the description. Toggle the mods you want and jump into the action. It's free, it's safe, and it's a one-click setup. Alright, so let's talk about the potential release window for Hogwarts Legacy 2, because I think there are a couple ways this could go. Now, the game was confirmed to be in development a little while after the release of the first game, and with the sheer amount of cut content from the original Hogwarts Legacy, I think this game will likely be in and out of pre-production relatively quickly. But that being said, Avalanche Software was much smaller until relatively recently, which is one of the main reasons why we didn't get a paid DLC or really much post-launch content support. They literally didn't have the manpower to make it while also finishing up the various console ports of the first game. Now, it's also been confirmed that the next game will be built on Unreal Engine 5, which may have a mixed reputation with gamers due to its technical hiccups, but it's also a very easy engine to develop on, which means development for Hogwarts Legacy 2 should hopefully go rather smoothly once it's out of the planning phase. So personally, I'm expecting this game to get revealed sometime in 2026 and then release most likely a year, possibly 2 years after that, which would give it roughly a 5-year development timeline. But given how big it's likely going to be, I think it could easily be pushed back even further. Now, it was recently reported that there was indeed a paid DLC in the works for Hogwarts Legacy 1, but it was actually shut down by WB just mere months from release, which is pretty insane to me. Ever since the first game came out, we were literally begging for some kind of DLC or expansion, and Avalanche Software kept telling us that they didn't have anything in the works because they were working on all different console ports, and they weren't expecting the game to blow up as much as it did, meaning they didn't actually budget any time for development for the DLC into their schedule. But according to several trusted gaming insiders, Avalanche actually was able to open up some of their time to work on an expansion, along with the help of Rocksteady Studios, and it would have been released this year as both a DLC to the base game, as well as part of a re-release called Hogwarts Legacy's Definitive Edition. Now, this DLC would have featured some new story content, as well as a ton of new cosmetic content and collectibles, but it was actually shut down by WB because they didn't have enough content to release it at a price of about $20 to $30, so they just decided to scrap it all together, which totally makes sense to me. It's kind of unfortunate, but they thought that those development funds would be better suited towards going towards the official sequel, which, you know, I really can't complain about. On one hand, I can understand Warner Brothers being more interested in funding a new game instead of funding an expansion for something that came out over 2 years ago, but at the same time, this is Hogwarts Legacy we're talking about. People would absolutely have bought the DLC even if it didn't have much content and it was a bit expensive, but hopefully that work doesn't go to waste and the scrap DLC content makes its way into the sequel somehow. Now, speaking of the sequel, there was a little bit of confusion over what kind of game it actually would be, but thankfully that seems to have been cleared up. Originally, people were worried that Hogwarts Legacy 2 would be an online multiplayer game because of some job listings that popped up on Avalanche's website that were looking for people to work on some kind of online multiplayer game set in the Harry Potter universe. On top of that, Warner Brothers has made several statements over the last year or so that they want to continue making live live service games based on their most popular IP, and that they're not super interested in offline single player games anymore, which is why Wonder Woman game was canceled out of nowhere and why Rocksteady was forced to finish Suicide Squad instead of making a traditional Arkham game. It certainly wouldn't be out of character for Warner Brothers to demand Hogwarts Legacy 2 be an online multiplayer game instead of an offline single player game, but thankfully we've got some clarity on this from some inside sources. As it turns out, the multiplayer game that Avalanche was hiring for has nothing to do with Hogwarts Legacy sequel, and Warner Brothers is still going to make Hogwarts Legacy 2 as an offline single player experience for the most part. Now I say for the most part because while nothing is 100% confirmed one way or another, I really wouldn't be surprised if WB finds some way to squeeze online elements into Hogwarts Legacy 2. I mean, they're very open about how much they like making live service games even if they flop, and since the big Quidditch live service game was a unfortunate flop, Warner Brothers may be looking for a new online avenue to draw in Harry Potter fans. I'm not saying that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to be a multiplayer game, but I am absolutely saying that there is going to be some kind of live service element added to the game's experience. Maybe they'll have some kind of cosmetic shop, or maybe there will be some sort of multiplayer Quidditch or some multiplayer mode. Perhaps they make Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy 2 multiplayer to kind of replace the unfortunately failed live service game. Now, I don't think it's going to get as egregious as like a time saver mechanic like other WB single player games have had. I don't know what they're planning on doing, but I would just say this: don't be surprised if Hogwarts Legacy 2 has some kind of live service aspect despite it being a single player experience. Now let's talk about the gameplay of Hogwarts Legacy's sequel. Now, in case you didn't know, older versions of Hogwarts Legacy were actually much more intense on the RPG side of things, and data miners have actually found a ton of evidence to support that in the game code. Originally, there seemed to be a much more intricate companion system, as well as a more detailed house point system, similar to how you would get house points in the books and movies. There was also apparently much more of a morality system in place that would add some extra consequences to evil actions like attacking certain NPCs and using unforgivable curses, which if you've watched my videos for a while, you know that I think that there needs to be more consequences to your actions. But it seems like the game as a whole was streamlined at some point during development, likely in an attempt to keep the casual gamers engaged. But now that everyone knows what Hogwarts Legacy is and Avalanche has proven that people will buy their RPGs, I would love to see them implement all of these original ideas. I would absolutely love some kind of proper morality system in Hogwarts, along with a more fleshed out companion system that lets you create your own little gang of wizards and witches, similar to how the stories we all know and love from the books and movies. Now sure, this would make the game a lot less casual, but why is that a bad thing? RPGs are super successful, and the first Hogwarts Legacy game came out and already got millions of casual gamers interested in the world, so why not lean more into the hardcore mechanics now that you have everyone's attention? Plus, the world of Harry Potter is absolutely crying for some kind of morality system. I mean, so much of the Harry Potter franchise is about the conflict between good and evil and the temptation of power, so why not incorporate that into the game? Now let's talk about the setting for Hogwarts Legacy 2. Now, one thing that I would love to see for this game is to take place somewhere in between the first game and the first Harry Potter book. Hogwarts Legacy took place roughly 100 years before the first Harry Potter book, and with the new HBO series currently in production, I would think it'd be really cool to see Hogleg 2 take place between the two. Maybe this new game could take place while Tom Riddle was still a student at Hogwarts, so you could see his origins while playing as a student alongside him, or perhaps this game could take place during the First Wizarding War, so we could see the first reign of Voldemort in the years leading up to the birth of Harry Potter. In my opinion, the First Wizarding War has so much potential in the time period, and since we've already seen Hogwarts and its surrounding areas in the first Hogleg game, Avalanche is going to have to use that setting to their advantage to differentiate the two games, since most of the map is likely going to be recycled. Now, it's possible that the next game just takes place in the next year of Hogwarts and our character kind of returns, which I think that'd be fine, but that's kind of the safe option in my opinion. And for the most part, the story is pretty much over for Hogwarts Legacy 1. Like, they could continue it pretty easily, but I think if they change the setting and give us a fresh take with all new professors and a new character and a new story to tell. WB is kind of in a tough spot financially, especially in the world of video games, which means they will probably want to hype up Hogwarts Legacy 2 as soon as humanly possible. So even though I said earlier in the video that I'm not expecting it to launch until sometime in 2027, 27, possibly even 28 at this point. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they tease it way sooner than that. Frankly, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised for Hogwarts Legacy 2 to be announced at the Game Awards this year, or perhaps even during Summer Game Fest with a brief teaser. If it were up to me, I wouldn't want a trailer until a solid release window is attached to it, but knowing what we know about the games industry, I think it's way more likely that we get a teaser way too soon in advance, which means we could very possibly see one by the end of 2026, especially now that GTA 6 has been pushed to next year and won't be hogging up the news cycle. But that's going to wrap it up with this video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Are you excited for Hogwarts Legacy 2? What is your take on it? Like, when do you think we're going to get the release? Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe with your notifications turned on so you're not missing out on any future gaming news. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.